The harsh truth when it comes to your healing journey is accepting that you were betrayed. It was accepting that you were manipulated, was accepting that you were abused psychologically, emotionally, mentally, or even financially. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then that means it's not in line, which means it is not for you. So don't force it. As well as grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. For the month of April, and in this video specifically, for the next 30 days, we're going to be going over the harsh truths when it comes to our healing journeys, like the aftermath, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, and some disclaimers. So for today's video, we're going to talk about you having to be able to make peace with the past version of you who went through the psychological abuse, who went through the spiritual warfare, who was in poverty, who was abused, who went through so many trials and tribulations, and maybe you did not know any better. Maybe you did not have any guidance. Maybe you were let down by your caregivers, your friends, your family, and community. So the first disclaimer is knowing that you did survive. And I know that's going to sound like easier said than done, but you have to realize that if you're still able to wake up every single day and you're watching this video, you are a lot further than where you have become, and you definitely have to learn to allow yourself to process what has happened to you. And that's the second disclaimer. When you're so used to being traumatized, when you're so used to being abused, when you're used to being in poverty, when you're used to being neglected, when you're used to just low vibrational activities and people and places and things, a lot of times you think that it's normal. A lot of times you think this is how life is, and this distorts your perception when it comes to life. This determines your attitude with yourself and how you see the world. So you have to realize that when you survive trauma, naturally your body is going to be in shock. And this is why a lot of people now in 2026 and in 2025 have been talking about regulating your nervous system. You have to realize that your body is going to go through withdrawals, because until you take the time to watch these videos, to see a therapist, to see a psychiatrist, to go to your God or the ancestors or the universe, take what resonates, leave the rest, because I'm not here to force religion or spirituality, you're going to psychologically as well as emotionally and subconsciously and consciously replay moments where you were in traumatic situations, whether you were physically traumatized, emotionally traumatized, mentally, or like I said, psychologically, or even financially, from the people that were once familiar with. So like the abusers, the narcissists, or just people who were also used to dysfunction. You have to realize that if everybody around you grew up in dysfunction, everybody was a narcissist, everybody is insecure, everybody has envy, nobody realizes how the projection and deflection is affecting you and everyone else. So it's really important. The third thing too is that when you are taking the time to process what has happened to you and you realize you have survived, that you are allowing yourself to be isolated, that you are allowing yourself to separate, you are allowing yourself to be detached from these people and these places and these things until you're able to sit with yourself, until you're able to journal or book your service in your session, which is in the description, you're following me, or you seek some type of assistance. You are going to feel like you're losing your mind, because you have to realize as you're elevating, as you're evolving in life, because that's the purpose of life, is to change and to grow, you are going to have a fluctuation of emotions, especially if you have been suppressing how you feel. Like maybe because you felt embarrassed, maybe you felt like you were not able to be safe, maybe you weren't able to be seen, or maybe when you did try to talk about your trials and tribulations, people didn't believe in you, people made fun of you, etc. You know your situation. So the fourth thing is knowing that as you are becoming the best version of yourself, and as you are processing what has happened to you and you're taking the time to isolate, you are learning to be gentler to yourself. You are learning to allow yourself to go through the withdrawals. When you go through a significant amount of trauma, like I said, psychologically, subconsciously, and consciously, your body is no longer going to be the same. You have to realize that in order for you to be the best version of yourself, or to get back to who you were before you experienced these trials and tribulations, it is going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and most importantly, you are going to go through a lot. You have to realize that if you are so used to not being vulnerable or not being safe, you're going to feel paranoid. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel mad. You're going to be happy. Like, you're going to feel bipolar. You're going to feel like something is wrong with you, when a lot of times it's nothing necessarily wrong with you. It's just a simple fact that your nervous system has been dysregulated for a long time. So you have to realize that when you're having days where you feel angry about what people have done to you, that it is common for you to feel frustrated. It is common for you to be upset the fact that you are a good person and people took advantage of you, or you were abused, or whatever it was. And I'm speaking from experience. What has helped me along my healing journey was to realize how grotty a lot of people were in my life, but not allowing their demeaning or their degrading behavior or character to affect me. Because one, I know that I did not go into these people's lives trying to hurt and harm them or sabotage them or doing these manipulation tactics, whether it was psychologically, emotionally, consciously, subconsciously, howeverly, as well as knowing that my intentions were never to, corrupt people's character or cause confusion. So it's like, when you know that you did the best that you could in certain situations, in these traumatic situations, or encountering certain people, places, and things, you do allow yourself to give yourself more grace. You do realize, okay, yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm sad about what has happened to me. You have every right to. I'm not trying to invalidate your experience, but you don't have to dwell on it. Like, once you process what has happened to you, once you talk about how it made you feel, once you realize where you had some learning and growing to do, once you hold yourself accountable, once you cut off the certain people, places, and things, you will naturally separate yourself. You will naturally distance yourself. You will start to gain the boundaries. And that's the fifth thing. Allowing yourself to not feel guilty about cutting certain people off or making the necessary changes to you and yourself and those that care about you. Because at the end of the day, these people did what they did, they said what they said, and you cannot go back to that version of you that no longer exists. The whole purpose of this account, if you're new here, is to motivate, inform, and educate, and to continue to move forward despite what we've went through. I personally know that just because I went through certain situations does not mean that I want to stay there, because me personally, I don't. Staying in my past when I don't have to be there, especially, like I said, when I'm able to hold myself accountable. And it's not to say that you're not perfect. It's not to say that I'm not perfect. This is not to say that we haven't made certain choices, but I can count on my hand, put my right hand over my heart, and take a lie detector test. And I know I'm being watched by the ancestors, God, and universe. And know, like I said, if you're not out here causing problems with people, you're just going to have lessons in life that you have to learn from. Like, instead of being so hard on yourself about not knowing that maybe you were being touched on inappropriately, maybe you were being beaten, maybe people were gossiping about you, maybe you didn't speak up, maybe you didn't know how to defend yourself physically, maybe people were doing things and you didn't say nothing, or you trying to keep the peace, or whatever it was, like whether it was family, associates, coworkers, classmates. Like, you don't have to be the villain in your story. And also too, because we're here to be accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable, because there's certain things that you need to learn about yourself, like maybe boundaries, maybe confidence, maybe separating yourself, maybe having discernment, maybe learning how to trust your intuition, as well as holding other people accountable. So the first recommendation is allowing yourself to apologize to yourself. So your homework assignment, in the comment section, in the notes, I want you to put I apologize to myself, and I want you to tell yourself why. This is something too that I've done from experience. I've worked and connect with and virtually had appointments with a lot of people of all different walks of life, whether they were Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, gays, 30, 40, 50, 60, like, okay, you have to learn how to apologize to yourself, because 99% of the time, those people, those places, and things, they did what they did, they said what they said, and the situations that you've experienced already happened. If they're not going to apologize and, realize that you both had learning and growing and evolving to do, you being angry and pointing the blame at them is only going to have bitterness and resentment towards you. And I know personally from experience, like, I've had people, like I said, do weird, crazy things, you guys. Eventually, we're going to talk about that. I've had to learn how to apologize for myself and for them, because I'm always going to be the bigger person. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be the bigger person. If you're not mature, this is for the mature audience. This is for grown adults. Like I said, it doesn't matter your race or your gender or pronouns. I'm going to apologize to myself because you don't deserve that. And when I know a lot of these people were immature, a lot of these people, like I said, were disrespectful, demeaning, and degrading and disgusting, I know they're not going to give me an apology. And me personally, I don't want them to apologize to me. I don't want nothing to do with them. So you're going to have to learn how to apologize to yourself in order for you to feel better and realize that you're not going to do this again. And in your apology, I want you to explain why you're apologizing to yourself. Unless these people, like I said, come and apologize, don't expect it. Don't expect it. Like, don't be so frustrated about what has happened to you that you block yourself and you limit yourself and you sabotage yourself from moving forward and having experiences with people like myself who want to do right by you. Everybody in the world is not a villain. Everybody in the world is not out to get you, but you do have to learn how to have discernment. I've also had to continue my discernment. I've had to realize at an early age and very quickly, and this is why I make these videos, everybody is not meant to have access around you. Everyone does not have your best intentions. Everybody is not a good person. And instead of us being upset and being miserable and allowing the people and the places and things or even the situations to determine the rest of our reality, just accept what has happened to you, how it made you feel, and let it go. So the second recommendation is that you are going to have to accept the fact that it's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to be mad. It's okay for you to be frustrated, because once again, if you know you're a genuine person, which you are watching this, and you know you didn't deserve to be beaten on, abused mentally, like whatever you had to go through, you're going to be angry. You're going to be sad. And you have every right. Like, a lot of times when you're a good person like myself and you have to encounter people who are not, you are going to feel some type of way. Like, there's been times where I've financially, emotionally, psychologically been there for people, places, and things, and I've never got that energy or my money back from them. But because I'm the type of person where I give and I don't expect anything, I just learned with certain people, there's certain boundaries. Like, I know that I can give to certain people, and there's some people I don't give. Like, you don't have to feel bad about saying no. You don't have to feel bad about cutting people off. You don't have to feel bad about not wanting to talk to people. This doesn't mean that you're better than people or people are less than you, but you just have respect for yourself. Not just that, if these people and places and things once again wanted to be in your life, they would do right by you the first time. I don't do second chances, you guys, unless God, the answers in the universe, say, let's give this person or this opportunity a second chance. Like, you have to learn how to trust yourself before you trust other people. Like I said, other than like the gods, the ancestors in the universe. And if you're atheist, you have to learn how to trust yourself. So the third recommendation is knowing that as you're going through these withdrawals, as you're processing what has happened to you, it's really important that if you can, you're not engaging with anything that caused you to suffer or caused you to feel pain. And of course, if you're in these situations still where you have to live with certain people, or you have to work with certain people, or you have to go to school with certain people, or you have kids, you have to realize that you need an exit plan. And that's the second thing that you need to work on your notes. You need to figure out, what direction am I going to get to once you take the time to heal, once you see a psychiatrist, therapist, me, you book your service in your session, you follow me on all my social media platforms. All the information is down in the description box below. Okay? You go to God. Like, you have to figure out, okay, what am I going to be able to do to move forward? Because you don't have to stay paralyzed. This is why a lot of people have BPD. This is why a lot of people have anxiety. This is why a lot of people are depressed. This is why a lot of people feel schizophrenic. Like, this is why, like, all these labels and attachments, which you guys know I cannot stand, I hate, because you don't have to be a label or attachment. Like, you don't have to be anxious for your entire life. You don't have to be depressed for your entire life. You don't have to be neurodivergent. You don't have to be autistic. You don't have to be bipolar. You don't have to be schizophrenic for the rest of your life. Like, you could figure out why you're feeling this way, because 100% of the times it is trauma. Let's be for real. Unless it's like physical, but even physical, that's a different topic for a different video. I'm gonna keep it cute. I'm gonna keep it demure. But anyways, like, you have to realize that your feelings are valid. And in your apology, I want you to put that to yourself. Like, and I want you to say that, like, you have to articulate yourself. You have to be vulnerable, which is the fourth thing. Like, you have to be able to talk about why certain things made you feel angry. Because it's like, until you make peace with your past, until you let it go, until you open up your heart chakra and your mind, you're gonna feel some type of way. And to be honest, you're gonna have to put in the work. Like, this is an accountability account. This is why all the weak, WEAK, people are not gonna resonate with my energy. All to y'all shade. Like, only strong people get through trials and tribulations and move forward. And I'm going to say weak because I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm here to be extremely, quote unquote, transparent or authentic, as people like to say. Because how do you say the word? Authentic? authenticity, or however you say the word, has no filter. There's no limitations, especially over here, because we're abundant. So if you're an abundant person, you can't put us in a box. So it's just like, in order for you to be abundant, you have to be honest. And the truth only hurts when you know that you're not being who you say you are. Like, everybody swears up and down that they're confident and authentic, and that girl or that guy, okay, hold that mirror up. That's what we do over here. Everybody has an energy. Everybody has a vibe. Like I said, if it doesn't apply, then it's not in line. So let it fly. If it's not for you, send and share this video to somebody who needs to see it, because yeah, it's 2026. Like, how many more years, how many more days, how many more months do you have to continue to struggle and suffer about certain things that you need to move forward from? And I'm telling you from experience, I had to go through a lot of things. I had to put in a lot of work. I had to do a lot of counseling and healing and meditation and praying and crying and releasing in order for me to move forward, because I refuse to stay stuck and stagnant. Like, that's not my energy. It was never my energy. And that's the main reason why it's so important that you learn to forgive yourself and you allow yourself to grieve the old version of you. Because a lot of times when we went through the trials and tribulations and we went through the abuse and we went through like the trauma and being touched on inappropriately and people gaslighting us and people trying to hurt and harm us, we didn't know any better. Like, a lot of times people are naive. A lot of times people are innocent. A lot of people are ignorant. Like, children don't realize that's not appropriate unless you have somebody tell you that's not appropriate. And then once again, if you have people who are abusers and they don't speak up on certain things, they want to protect certain people, it's like, well, what's the point? Like, the point is that you don't have to be like the people who try to hurt and harm you, because that's the whole concept of this video, as well as knowing that, like I said, if you know you're a good person, you know how you were raised, or if you know like you don't want to be associated with these things, you don't have to. But most importantly, you don't have to feel bad. Don't feel bad and don't feel guilty. And if you do, let me know. Let me know about this video that you need to work on, as well as what you want to talk about moving forward. If not, stay tuned. These are the harsh truths. Like I said, we're here to be honest the whole month of April. Watch all the other videos that I have, as well as, like I said, follow me on all my social media platforms. All the information is down in the description box below. And like I said, if you guys are ready to book your service, drop the word website and I'll go ahead and turn that back on for you, excuse me. As well as when you guys are following me on my Instagram and on my TikTok, I will be going live for the rest of this month talking about these things. But I love you. You're loved. You're not alone. Until next time, peace. Thanks for watching.